Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez are apparently in talks for a rematch in 26, and my only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive pay. First fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight, and if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. This is going to go very well for one, Saul.
Canelo Alvarez, even after being completely dominated in September, is still refusing to accept reality. He keeps saying he wants Terence Crawford again, convinced that a healthy arm would change everything, but experts are begging him to stop. From Eddie Hearn to Antonio Margarito, the message is the same: Canelo is worn down and no longer physically able to hunt Crawford down. This isn't just a risky rematch, they're calling it a suicide mission. If Canelo steps back into the ring with Crawford, he might be walking straight into the end of his career.
Well, it looks like it's the end of an era. Canelo Alvarez spoke about his retirement plans and has confirmed that the end is near and that his time inside the ring is coming to an end relatively soon. Canelo Alvarez said that he is now in the stage wherein he's also thinking a lot about how he wants to focus as well as enjoy the fruits of his labor, not just for himself but for his family as well. The Mexican fighter who made his professional boxing debut at the age of 15 years old and has been professionally fighting for almost 20 years now said the following, and I quote, "From the age of 28 to 29, this is the age where I have felt best. I've always said that at 37 years old is a good age to enjoy what I have done with my family, other things in my career, and that's what I say. But I said I would debut at 18 and I did it at 15.
Most shocking warning doesn't come from a rival, it comes from inside Canelo's own circle. His promoter, Eddie Hearn. Promoters usually hype any big money fight, but Hearn has been unusually honest about why this matchup is a disaster for Canelo. He revealed a truth Canelo's team doesn't like to talk about. They knew years ago that Crawford's style was a nightmare for Canelo. According to Hearn, Canelo isn't just facing a great boxer, he's facing his stylistic kryptonite. Crawford's side-to-side movement and ability to switch stances completely take away Canelo's power. It wasn't just a bad night for Canelo, it was a bad style for him. Hearn suggests Canelo was refusing to accept reality. His body, especially his legs, can't do what his mind and eyes still want to do. And that denial is exactly what makes a rematch so dangerous.
I believe they have a rematch clause. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of wording, because Canelo doesn't enter a fight without some kind of wording in terms of rematch clause. But he's just not going to beat Terence Crawford. It's the style's all wrong for him, the movement's all wrong for him. And that's what I said. Going into the fight, I really believed Crawford would win in the style that he did. And then just as it got a bit closer at the weigh-in, I was like, my heart was like, no, Canelo's got this, but deep down, I kind of knew that it was all wrong for him. And to be honest with you, Canelo knew it was all wrong for him. I had the conversation with Canelo Alvarez probably, I don't know, a year ago, about Terence Crawford. And he was like, no, why would I fight Terence Crawford? He hates that style. And when he fought Charlo, I remember him being really disappointed that Charlo just moved and moved and moved. And that's why he ended up fighting Munguia and Berlanga, because they're guys that wouldn't do that and they'd stand in front of him, and that suits him down to the ground. Anyone that's got movement like Skull, like Crawford, he really struggles against. And when he was a bit younger and fresher, he could probably get away with it and cut it off, but then you see guys like Bivol and Crawford and these guys beat him because of that movement. And I don't know what he does again. I mean, the biggest money fight out there for him is the rematch with Crawford.
That brings us to Canelo's physical decline, which analysts are now openly talking about. Writers at Sports Illustrated and Fan Nation didn't just say Canelo lost. They said he was easy work for Crawford, their main focus. Canelo's knees, after almost 20 years as a pro, the lack of cartilage has turned him into a flat-footed stalker. In his prime, he could cut off the ring with explosive pressure. But against Crawford in late 2025, he looked like he was moving in mud. And here's the key point the experts keep repeating: you can't fix worn-out joints in one training camp. Meanwhile, Crawford moves like a track athlete. In the first fight, he walked Canelo around the ring, made him miss, and punished him over and over. The scary consensus is simple: Canelo's body is too slow now for him to land the one big punch he needs to win.
Is it dangerous to Canelo's legacy to lose to the best of this era and the best of the era previously? I don't know. Did Canelo ever have an era where he was the best in the world? Maybe that's the question he's still trying to answer himself, and why he would want this rematch with Crawford. But when I see this news coming out of him wanting the rematch, having the elbow surgery, maybe in his mind going, okay, my elbow wasn't fresh, I wasn't able to turn my shots over, so that's why I can win this rematch. I like the competitive nature of it. I don't like the fight for him. I think the matchup's all wrong for Canelo. I think this style of fight, in terms of what Terence Crawford does well, is counterpunching off the front and back foot, his ability to go from range with his jab, be inside with it too, protect himself, catch counter with punches. He's got just a different timing that Canelo really has on his punches, and then you pair it with the volume that Terence Crawford can throw, and his feet, and his angles. This is the bad matchup for Canelo. We've seen it already, and I just don't know if the rematch goes any differently. I think Terence Crawford would have Canelo in real trouble the second time around. And again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, he'd knock him out cold, because Canelo's got an iron chin, but if he didn't already in the first fight, he would do a number. Texas Instruments 83 plus on Canelo if they rematch. I truly believe that, because I think the matchup's all wrong. I think that both guys learned something about the other in that fight, and the guy that took more away as far as data and things to use was Terence Crawford, because what Canelo brought was the best version of him, and it wasn't enough. And if Terence brought the best version of him and it was enough, because I think both guys brought their best version, but the fight played out how the styles will always match up. Canelo is best when a guy will stand in front of him and go upper body movement, planted feet, let's fight exclusively in the phone book. Terence Crawford is at his best when he can dog walk someone, walk the dog on them literally, have them on a leash, walking around the ring, and then planting his feet, throwing, circling, feinting off the back foot, then coming back, counter punches. He has every tool in the shed. And I think skill-wise and stylistically can.
As if the physical issues weren't enough, former world champion Antonio Margarito has added another brutal layer to the conversation. Margarito believes the second fight would actually be easier for Crawford. He's talking about what insiders call the solved puzzle theory in boxing. Once a genius-level fighter like Crawford figures you out, he usually never has trouble with you again. Margarito says Crawford has already downloaded everything: Canelo's timing, his feints, his rhythm, and his.
¿Qué me dice de la gran pérdida que tuvo México ahorita ante Terence Crawford en parte de Canelo? Una pérdida muy dura para el boxeo mexicano, pero ¿qué piensa usted de eso? ¿Qué pasó ahí esa noche?
Sí, mira, realmente yo siempre lo he dicho, ¿no? Realmente, mira, yo siempre lo dije que Canelo pues aprendió mucho, y la verdad digo mis respetos, ¿no? Pero creo yo, sinceramente, pues que Canelo realmente pues escogían rivales para poder que se viera ganador él. Yo sé que arriba del ring no sabemos qué pueda pasar, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que no peleó con los mejores para mí, ¿no? Y realmente yo creo que Crawford pues tenía el estilo para ganarle, y sinceramente me han preguntado, y yo pienso realmente que en una revancha le gana más fácil Crawford a Canelo. Digo, desgraciadamente pues es mexicano, ¿no? Y haz de cuenta, a veces pues tengo problemas con los mexicanos, pero realmente yo es lo que yo pienso, ¿no? del boxeo de Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo is a good fighter, and he learned a lot. I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I knew Crawford was going to win, and I was going for the Mexican because I'm Mexican, of course, but Canelo used to choose his fighters, but this time he couldn't do that.
In the rematch, he thinks Crawford can beat him easier, huh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier for Crawford to beat him.
Yeah.
And the warnings aren't just technical, they're getting personal. The tension between both teams has reached a boiling point, especially from Crawford's trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre. Bomac isn't just telling Canelo to stay away, he's sending messages that sound more like threats than advice. After the first fight, Bomac was even caught on video yelling at Canelo's side, making it clear that if they do this again, Crawford won't just beat Canelo, he'll punish him.